Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What If Izuku Midoriya Was Dr. Octopus. Let us begin. Izuku, when he was 2 years old, was always smarter than most. His mother and father, Hazashi Midoriya and Inko Midoriya, both believed him to have an intelligence quirk. When both of the trio, went to the quirk doctor, he had none. Izuku was always a boy that wished to make his mother and father smile. So what did he do? He hid his heartbreak. And truly, it didn't make it worse, but when it came down to it, Izuku gained a complex of I need to be stronger than people with quirks. At the age of 5, when Katsuki betrayed him, beat his ass for defending another, just to have that kid not defend him, to run. One thing was certain. Power is everything. And I was smarter than most. I have to make sure that I am peak of what I am. So, sorry for the small pause. Back to it. After that day, Izuku realized something rather important and strange for a child to learn, but he learned it nonetheless. Strength in this world is valued, and quirkless folks don't have shit on people like Katsuki. This world is cruel. But, Katsuki in this one does not know that Izuku's quirkless. He's just blatant assumption. Even though people are like 90% certain that he has an intelligence quirk, which he does not. He is quirkless. And, for the next year, Izuku trained. Not just his mind, his body. He put himself through hell. By hell, I mean, Izuku wanted to stop, but something was driving him. This borderline obsession with, I need to be stronger than a quirked human. That is my goal. So Izuku began working, allowing his body to take breaks. He realized that he was making progress at an unfathomable pace. At the age of 6, he was able to punch a brick in half. Now, I don't mean a brick that was in between two boards, that kind of shit. No. I mean, he got pissed off and punched a brick wall. And his hand went through it. And into the drywall it went. His hand was bleeding, sure. But Izuku realized something that day. Something that even he didn't comprehend. I'm growing stronger extremely quickly. I do not know if this is divine intelligence or my will to become stronger, but I'll use it nonetheless. Izuku being extremely nice to his mother, his father, and people that believed he had an intelligence quirk. But as soon as it's only him and Katsuki in the room, he spat venom and started a fight, one-on-one, at the age of 6. Oh, the fight that happened was one-sided. Katsuki was getting thrown around like a rag doll, all and being beat. At the age of 6, that was the day Izuku had enough of his shit. And Katsuki Bakugo was sent to the nurse's office. He was unconscious, no one knew what happened. Izuku said this: I came back from the bathroom and I found him like this. I don't know what happened. Sounding timid, as he would among friends and family and teachers. Everyone. And Izuku trained harder, but then he found a junkyard, and at the age of 7, we are doing a lot of time skips in this one, he was able to make something that both confused and intrigued him. An engine that ran off of air. Pure energy. No carbon footprint whatsoever. Takes the O2 right out the air. And it was interesting. And he decided, what should I power with this? And his first thought was a weapon. So he began construction on some kind of laser that he kind of stitched together with a couple bottles and a magnifying glass. If only he knew how powerful and how much energy that ball, that little container he had was making that was seemingly fucking bottomless. Izuku Midoriya shot it at a car body, and it went through for exactly 1 mile, and it killed a man. Now, Izuku, not knowing that it killed a man, just seen it go through a building in someone's parked car. So what he did was pretty simple. He took all of his shit and left. Izuku still being interested, he still wanted more perfection. And not just his mind, but his body. In his words, my mind is sharp, but I need my fangs sharper. That is what I need. Sharper fangs. So, he began working on an exosuit, and then began to ponder on why it must react on his muscles, specifically his arms, his legs, his chest, stuff like that. When he could just hook it up to his head, his brain. And then a devilish look came over his face. And then a smile of pure glee. Untapped happiness. That day he smiled and smiled wide. He realized that day that I can not only up my body significantly more, but I will always have my arms free to beat the shit out of people. Good. Very good. And that is what he began to do. He began to make the maneuver ability gear. But instead of it just being 4 arms, it was 6. And his first test was an astounding success. It hooked up to the back of his spine. Not directly, of course, because he's no surgeon. And he can't do a surgery on himself backwards. That would be silly. No. At the age of 10, he made the maneuverability gear. And then he remembers the laser. He proceeded to put the laser in it. Basically quadruple the efficiency. Dull down the lethality like a motherfucker. And his test fire was not at something standing straight up, it was at an angle. He fired it at a tree in his backyard. It hit the tree, and it seemingly electrocuted it. Exactly what he wanted. His perfection is at hand. Now, he began trying to make it collapsible. Each arm collapsible into the back with fast deployment. Another month before his birthday. Cha-ching. It works. His magnum opus. His wax wings. But these wax wings are laced with something much stronger than twine. No. By the gods. These were made of metal plates and had combat capability like no one has ever seen. Izuku told his mother about this, showing her. Even his father, when he came back from work, was astonished upon what he made. They were happy. They were proud of their son. Izuku giving that prideful smile that he gave to so many others in canon, but more specifically the prideful smile on the right-hand corner of the screen. That was the smile. Happiness, joy. That is what he wished to send out. So he was so happy. Man cried. Izuku had it. His magnum opus was set in stone. He was ready for its test run. So that night, upon its creation, Izuku left the house. Izuku left the house to test. God fucking damn it. I truly am sorry. The machine scared the ever-living fuck out of me because I was way too into it just a loud noise out of left field and you fucking jump. like ah. But anyway, let's get back into it. Izuku decides to take his machine, his magnum opus, out for a test spin. Late at night while his mother and father are asleep, he goes. And oh my, does it work wonders. Its traversal. Making near to no sound, it is able to just skitter across rooftops and make jumps that most people could only dream of. Izuku was smiling wider and wider. He was happy. Oh, he was so happy. Until one street down, he heard a slight scream. Him believing that he is strong. He skitters. He goes to help this person, or whoever they may be, and he sees that it's a mugging. No one familiar in this. He looks around, seeing no heroes about. Izuku covers his face and jumps down directly into the fray. Well, he doesn't really jump down. He finally lets him, gets off of the 6 tentacles and lands, on his feet. Which, it's not that heavy. It's actually extremely comfortable for him to wear. But, back to the beginning. Back to where it's gonna get fucking tense for a couple seconds, at the very least. There were 2 men messing with a man that screamed for aid as one was raising a gun. A tentacle just grabs his arm, yanks it upwards and to the left, hitting his friend in the face. While another tentacle grabs the other man by the back of his head and slams him into the other man's skull, knocking them both unconscious. The man looking up, the man who is being mugged, looking up to see a small figure with tentacles. Unknowing to Izuku, he takes a picture, not of one with flash, but one to catch his silhouette. And Izuku says, with a mask that has a voice changer on it, "Get the authorities. Please call the police. I'll make sure that you'll be safe until I hear sirens. And then you must stay here to give a statement, after all. After all, I cannot be here. I am too young to even be out this late." This man nods and proceeds to call the authorities. 2 minutes later, he hears sirens, and he sees someone going towards him on the roof, as Izuku says to the man, once again with his voice modified to where it's nigh unrecognizable, "Well, I believe it is my time to go. There's a hero coming. Scream for help." And he just gets on all 6 tentacles and begins running at full speed. Him going at full speed upon the rooftops is extremely fast. The person that sees him is Mr. Aizawa, Eraserhead, that sees this person with tentacle. What is that? Confused, hears someone scream for help below. Looking down and see a man with 2 unconscious people. Aizawa comes down basically believing that this guy basically was about to kill him when Aizawa realizes that was a small figure, even though, like, he was far away. He could tell that was kind of small. And the man who was the Mug E begins speaking to Mr. Aizawa, explaining to him the situation. The police end up getting there, taking a statement from the man. Mr. Aizawa is kind of confused on the picture that he sees. A small figure with these tentacles that are longer than the fucking telephone poles. Just standing there on the roof, looking down at him, surprised. After assuming that this man was a vigilante. One moment, please. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. This is where we were. My apologies for the pausing. Now, by this point, Mr. Aizawa just believes him to be a vigilante, no more, no less. He's a vigilante. Nothing much to think about it, really. But according to this man, he saved his life because he was about to be shot dead. It's either with a man with a quirk going on a stroll. No, that doesn't make any sense. According to this man, he said he is far too young to be up at this hour. Nonetheless, Aizawa gets back up on the roof and starts trying to look for any form of scratch marks or prints that indicate. He finds some and begins following them, tracking them backwards to a house. Izuku, already inside, snuggled up under the covers tight, happy that he just saved a life. Mr. Aizawa looks at the house, sees that it's very clearly something meant for a family, and he knows where he's going to be staking out tonight and tomorrow night for about a week max. And, well, I believe, personally, that this is a good place to end. Please, I hope you enjoyed. And cover the fuck up, it's cold.